Welcome to the Tone Zone. We have Krissy from
What's up?
Escuela Grind.
That's me.
Wow, we've done it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. We can't do it in person because you're always touring.
I'm always on the road.
And where were you just
You
at?
caught me.
I caught you. This is the only way I can catch people, just on the computer. But where were you just at right now?
We just flew out of Paris during Fashion Weekend, pretty much the end of it, and
Okay.
we played this festival called Death.
Muscat.
And it was like I don't know if you know where Hellfest is. I've never been. I'd really love to.
Never been.
It's out in the middle of nowhere, France, like northern France, and
Yeah, it's like a
we
field,
like
right?
this. Yeah. We stayed at this house. It just smelled like manure, and there was horses across the street. We're feeding them, bro. It was like a fairy tale for real.
That's kind of cool. I've only
Yeah,
had
dude.
terrible experiences in Europe, so.
Oh, yeah. We we try to think of the positives. We've definitely dealt with a lot of weird experiences, and like I myself, like being someone of like German Dutch heritage, I can't stand Germany.
Yeah.
I can't stand it sometimes. I love a lot of people there. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. It's just like there's a certain dynamic to it that's different than like, let's say, like being in Italy or like France. Like they go crazy. Everyone was like stage diving. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, I gotta love even like the weird parts about it. I learned to laugh about it. Might cry
Yeah.
about it later.
Yeah, I usually just think about it being like, damn, that really, really sucked. I'm like, wow, this could have been a lot better, but the last time I was there wasn't that bad.
Okay. When was the last time you went?
I was filling in with Rotting Out, and that was like 3 years ago,
Oh,
I
sick.
think. Yeah, because
Wow.
someone couldn't get in, or both guitar players couldn't get in, so they had to like scramble to get like scabs, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. Let's do this. You have a lot of amps behind you.
Yes.
Which one's your favorite?
Like obviously like this one has like a lot of like cult following.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's very like you have to know. If you really know, you know.
Yeah.
But I in terms of me being like someone who wants everything just like right behind me, small and packed, like
Yeah.
I want to say like the VH300 like Scott like from SNK, like honestly that's like the most useful amp I've had in the last 5 years. I really don't feel like I want to ever take this amp ever out on tour ever again.
Isn't it crazy
Yeah.
how it's just that small and you're just like, oh, this rocks.
It's
You
insane.
could do anything with it. You could put like the preamp section is really good, and then if you don't want to use that like voicing, you could just do a preamp pedal and the send and return, and you could do whatever you want. It's insane. And then the clean channel, very loud.
The clean sounds great. I rang a I told you I rang a HM2 through it. The Waza crafting it like took it so much better than like I say any other solid state I've ever heard it through. So I probably use it for other things, for clean stuff. I totally use it for that. It fixes my Enki case. I just have to put a little foam in front of my guitars.
Yeah.
It's not the heaviest amp, you know.
I think it's
I
like
definitely want
3
to find
pounds.
alternatives. Yeah, it's definitely really light. I recently got from Yamaha. Thank you, Yamaha. They've been so great to me. They sent me a Line 6 Helix. And,
Oh wow, that's right.
So yeah, so I'm currently looking at just like trying to fix my sound into sounding like all this. So I can just tour with the board. I don't have to bring any of these on the road.
crazy. It sounds so crazy to me. Like it
You just
doesn't.
need 2 cables, you know?
2 cables?
Well, it's to run to I guess the speaker cables too, and the power cable. But the less cables, the better for me. I hate that shit. The less pedals behind me. Like I'm just that type of person on stage. Like I don't want to run into any problems, and oftentimes I still do with like the most minimal. I have an ABY switch running. I have a preamp drive maybe just once in a while, just in case something happens with the amp. I have 2 tuners on my pedal board. That's
2
it.
tuners?
I have one on my wireless, and I also have a strobo stomp.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little mini one. Have you seen the mini ones?
I see the mini
They're
ones.
nice.
I need a
They're
mini.
sick.
I need a mini like version of what I have. But that sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you're saying is you're more of a convenience, but I get it because you're gone all the time, so you don't need amps that weigh 80 pounds, and you don't need like
Right.
multiple
Yeah.
amps. So I get the Line 6
I'm
Helix.
always trying to like. I'm trying to always meet like the 55-pound limit on the planes and whatnot. It sucks. I get anxiety thinking about it.
I mean, with me for the S&K and then bringing my guitar, I can fit my pedal board amp into one thing and then carry my guitar, and that's like 40 pounds. So I'm like, thank you so much, because I'm not trying to pay that extra bullshit.
We got pretty lucky. We started flying with Iceland Air, and there's like never anyone flying through Iceland for some reason. Maybe around like holiday seasons, probably, but I don't know. They always throw our bags on, like check bags on the flights. Like they throw them in for free. So they've been really cool to us. Yeah, sometimes they've been chill. Like my guitar case was way overweight on the way to Europe this recent tour. They honestly they just kind of ignored it. They just passed it through, and yeah.
That sounds awesome.
I like yeah, honestly, looking out with Iceland Air, anyone that's trying to fly to Europe, just take the layover in Iceland. It's kind of cool. And if you have to spend a day there, there's like geysers and shit you can look at. I don't know.
I mean, it's Iceland.
Cool.
It's cool stuff. It's like I don't think I've ever been to Iceland, but that's awesome. So
it's beautiful.
So the Line 6 Helix technology scares me like that.
I know all this shit.
I'm a caveman.
You think all this you think would be like obsolete, but it's still really popular. Obviously, like you can't beat an actual tube amp. You can't beat the sound of a tube amp. I've tried everything. I cannot beat the sound of these. You'll never have this. Maybe it will sound like it on the Line 6, but I don't know. The feeling and the presence of it just being there, active. There's nothing that compares, in my opinion.
I mean, I 100% agree with you.
But also, I love having tiny amps. I think that's really cool.
Tiny, isn't it funny?
I'm on both ends.
Isn't it funny having like a tiny amp on top of like a huge cab, and people are just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. Honestly, the whole Europe tour, people are like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Because I was using a Tone Block 202 from Quilter.
That's right.
Those are really great for taking pedals. I was running the VHD pedal, the preamp.
Yeah.
Through it for a bit. That was pretty good. I honestly think this is a little more versatile with the presence and the resonance knobs. Sometimes on a stage, I want to back off the resonance because I think it's a little too much in the room.
It gets a little too hissy.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I'm having tons of problems with mine right now. I was in Rome. I was being really careless, and I wasn't aware that I had staged my amps behind my Marshall cabinet.
Yeah.
And behind this Marshall cabinet was an active fog machine. And for 3 bangs, there was this fog machine blowing right into my S&K VH300, and all over my tone block was like this thick mist. It was like this goo. It was like sticky and gooey, and I picked it up. And luckily, Katrina came over and like gave me some towels to wipe it off. But I was so worried it was not going to work. But
was it in like the fan area kind of thing?
Yeah, like pretty much. You know the little fan. It was like right there.
Oh my
God. Like you might as well have that like little exhaust of the machine. Like it was right there. But it works. It still works somehow. I guess it's not a conductive. Thick mist goo is not a conductive source. Yeah. Now I know. You know.
Now I know. I'm not gonna mess with what are they called? Smoke. What are they called?
Dude, I turn those off every single time now. I flick them off. I'm like, sorry if that's fun for you as a lighting tech, but it sucks to breathe that in. I'm asthmatic. Shout out to the asthmatics out here. I saw homie and Soglo do that, and I was like, wow, I feel so seeing right now because I breathe that shit in the venues, and I just like it's hard for me, dude.
Yeah,
I smoke too much weed.
I can't do the fog machine, and I can't do. I don't know if you've played Florida. I'm assuming. You know how they can smoke in the clubs, and I'm just like, why?
I got to play Churchill's before it closed.
Yeah.
You know Churchill's in Miami?
I think so. No, you know what? I've never played Miami.
A lot of famous musicians used to play there. Actually, it's pretty
Gotcha.
grimy. Like I think like Marilyn Manson used to play there all the time. David
Yeah.
Bowie's played there. The Police, all these crazy bands, and they chain smoke, dude. Like people just go there to chain smoke.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I so I played. I think it was Pensacola. I'm not sure, but I played,
Nice.
and then
Weird place.
a weird place, but I could not breathe while playing, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And then um, someone covered Marauder, and then I moshed, and then I couldn't breathe, so I had to go outside like 3 times. I just could not do
No.
it. I just don't understand the,
Yeah. No, it fucks with my nostrils and
your
like my
sinus and
sinuses.
stuff. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
It's
And I'll
insane.
start to get like really bad like nasal drip.
Yeah,
I can't
nasal
believe we
drip
used to
is so
smoke those,
weird.
dude. Yeah. Wow. Marauder, dude, the vocalist moshes so hard for bands. It's
You know
insane.
what's funny is that he so George trains Muay Thai, right? And
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he moshes, it's like a certain style that you just don't see anymore. That's the
Exactly.
main thing. He has like
Unique.
such style, but it's also
No,
like
you're right,
scary
dude.
as fuck. And I'm like, if he moshes into me, I'm just gonna die.
He's not a big dude.
No, but he's just
He's
scary.
not that
and
big.
He's scary and Puerto Rican, and I'm just like, I'm good. Hey,
Don't fuck with him.
I'm good.
No, I want to be his friend.
Yeah, he seems awesome. He seems.
I love Marauder.
I love Marauder. I always try to emulate that tone because it doesn't sound quite tube, but also it kind of sounds like shitty, like Marshall Solid State, which it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. But the main
It's
one,
a nice air.
yeah, the main thing with I guess my tone is that I come to the realization that I really like Solid State.
Okay. Yeah.
What is my problem? First question, what is my problem? Why do I prefer that? But my question to you is, if you had to choose a tube amp or a solid state amp, and I'm talking right now, because me, I got the VH300, and I'm like, I don't want to use anything else. I'm addicted. I have a problem. Help.
You're right.
Please.
That's a hard one. That's really hard because like when I think of like my VH140C shaking the bag or something on stage, like that's our sound at the moment. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing without that on stage. Like the Dean's been nice. That's something that Kurt from Converge really got us onto, and we used on the album.
The Dean Costello.
Yeah, the Heavy Metal Warfare,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
ordered one in his studio. Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
while we were recording the
That's the
album, we
coolest
were like,
thing
we
I've
need
ever
to
heard.
get one of these. Yeah, so Dean was really quick about it. Shout out Dean. Shout out for Dean getting me a 50-watt version. I haven't really been able to talk about that one that much.
Yeah.
But I think he only has like I don't know how many have actually been made. I know that one's being auctioned off for Taylor Young's
That's
mixing
right.
space. I think. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. By this,
I can't wait to see who gets that.
it'll be out. So we'll see who the winner is. But yeah,
Yeah.
I actually used Dean's Head Heavy Metal Warfare for my my death metal man Greenwich, and it was that with the combo with the VH300, and I was like, okay, maybe I should save some money.
Yeah.
Just grab like what's the most he goes with the wattage, like 120?
Oh, this one's 140. Crazy. No
Oh.
effects loop.
Oh,
Just
God.
like straight.
I love no effects loop.
Just one in, and there's like I think there's an out on the back, but that's it.
Incredible. I might maybe because I've been really into the Fender Bassman.
Uh-oh. I think you cut out for a second.
Here we go. This is where it happens.
I'm sorry. I think you were starting to say something.
So, my thing right now is I'm obsessed with the Fender Bassman.
Oh, awesome, dude. Actually, I have one here that I recently picked up. I don't know if you know. Which ones are your favorite, particularly?
You know what? I don't mind the Presence Knob ones, and I don't mind the Silver Face ones. I just like the way they sound, and I like that it's like a precursor to like the Marshall era of amps, and I'm really into that because it's like, okay, this is the most basic shit you can get. There's three knobs each channel. Like, how? Why does this sound good? And it's so simple, and I'm like, okay, I like simple. I like, no effects loop, so that's why I kind of vibe with the heavy metal warfare head, and it just sounds good. But it's mostly, man, you don't know how many hours I've spent on YouTube for like the past week. I
Yeah.
really think about it, it's like thousands of hours. I'm like, okay, you could put a gain mod. You can,
Yes, dude.
you could just do little things. You can add to it, and I think I just really like that. I'm not particularly savvy with the soldering iron. I just don't.
Myself either.
I just don't have like an area to do it.
I do it when I have to like fix something on the road.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at Ashpong Amplification.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
do a little plug there.
Do the plug.
She helps me, a lot with my guitars. I don't bring them home with like the most like utmost care for them, so when something goes wrong, it's usually like I'm like, what do I do? And then I have to call her or something. But I've had to fix Tom's bass in the band. Like it's like I have to fix the wiring maybe 4 times, and I just know how to do the minimum.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
I want to learn how to do all that stuff. I think that's the thing. I'm like, if something goes wrong, I want to know how to do it instead of waiting like 2 weeks to get a guitar back, or I just want to learn. I learned how to set up guitars, with the hardtail guitars, but I learned how to do a Floyd Rose recently, and I'm like, oh, this is just a pain in the ass. But once you get it, you're like, okay, I know how to do this. I know how it works. I know that you have to just balance the bridge to the nut, and I just know that there's so many components to it. But I need to learn how to do that stuff. I also need to learn how to build a pedal. But Ash Pond Amplification.
Yeah.
She's great. I know. I was trying to get the what's her pedal? I forget the name.
The Desolator. Yeah.
Okay, I was right. I was like, it's called the Desolator. You have it?
Yeah.
Let's see it. Right here. Oh my god.
We love using it to like test amps and whatnot.
Yeah.
But she does a lot of work. Like, I just picked up this PV Butcher in DC.
Okay.
And it had like a burnt like power board inside of it because someone tried turning it on and testing it for me, and I wish they just never turned it on because it was like a lot of work to fix. But like she did it really quick. She added a knob on it to really change like the wattage and everything, and it sounds amazing. And running this pedal through anything honestly has been really cool.
Yeah.
And just playing around with it. Through the DCA, through a Model, I tried it through a Model T and like all that shit. So, yeah, I definitely encourage anyone that wants like a fuzz with like a lot more like you can mess more with the frequency, and it has more parameters, I guess.
It has more.
I would encourage it.
If I were to say anything about it, I don't own one, but I need one. That it's very versatile.
Yeah, for sure.
You can use it for pretty much anything. Which is very, very cool because in this day and age, you need a pedal that can do multiple things. That can, if you want to do like a fuzz thing, you can do it. But also, if it has one particular thing that you like about it, you should have it.
Yeah, dude. It also chops, You can really make it chop.
Yeah.
You can make it do that like Jack White thing, like where like it sounds really buzzy. Like it has a lot of things that you can do with it.
Which is why I like it.
Running through like a Fender Bassman, changes what the amp sounds like, which is insane. And there's so much you can do with the master volume in terms of the other volumes to really change how the preamp goes through it. And that's my favorite part about tube amps. In terms of backing off the preamp on like a Sung Model T and then hearing like I run the VHD through it and like it just sounded insane. And I was using it for practice for a bit and like you play around that way with amps. And like I honestly feel like Fender and Marshall, those are like the first amps to really introduce like modding amps, all the stuff that you were talking about, like all that stuff is like history in a way, I feel. And it's like stuff that excites me and my girlfriend a lot.
Yeah. I feel like following you two, and then, before I was like friendly with you, I think I saw something that she posted on TikTok or something, and it was like the first guitar-esque TikTok I saw, and I'm like,
Oh,
damn,
cool.
this sounds good. And then I followed her on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, she just has 1,000,000 amps, and I'm like, damn, she's just like me for real. And then I followed you, and I, listening to Escuela Grind, and it popping up in my Spotify playlist, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this? Like, this is an insane riff, and I had to like replay it a couple times, and I'm like, okay, let me listen to the whole thing, and then the whole record is just like, and the tones and everything. I love it.
Thanks, man.
But I'm a huge fan of
Thanks, man.
You too.
Also, like, I was really put on to a lot of like the lore of these amps by Jesse, our drummer.
Oh yeah, Jesse. Yeah, Jesse rocks.
Yeah, like, I listened to Cannibal Corpse and all that stuff, like the crate amps and stuff. I knew about all those, but like I wasn't really sure about like how people were like dying to get these. Like, they were the ones that were like, oh, we need one of these amps. I use these. They used to play in Kill the Client, so I think they used one of these during that band. And Jesse writes a lot of the riffs actually. All of Indoctrination and a lot of Memory Theater is their writing. So I definitely think like we had a different tone then for sure.
Yeah.
And we're still struggling, but I've been buying all these amps and stuff while we've been doing that. We've been trying out different things, and like with like, let's say we have a death metal EP coming up soon, and like I got to use my girlfriend's Sovtech MiG 60, and we got to use that while the Dean Costello it was getting some repairs at the time.
Gotcha.
And it honestly sounds really cool. It sounds a little bit different for what will sound like from, let's say, everything on Memory Theater.
Yeah.
It's I got a little bit of different texture, and I love playing around with amps because of that.
It's awesome to know that someone else is like me, that we just have to buy something, we have to try it out, we have to know if we like it, we have to know if it has a different flavor, because I found the GX130C. I can't get enough of it, and then I was like, okay, let's try like an updated crate. So I found a GX900. GX900? Yeah, I think that's the model. It sounds even better than the GX130. It's not as shrill. It has a lot of like
not as buzzy.
It has a lot of low end. And then recently, I've just been acquiring like metal zones.
Okay, cool.
I modded one. I'm actually gonna send it to someone that's local to me, because it has like an output thing going on. But like I said, I'm not too savvy with. Like, I could probably put a pedal together, but I can't like diagnose an issue. But I can kind of know. But I modded. That was like the first time I modded something, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not as metal zony. It has more high end. It has like the riffs are cutting a little bit more, but it still has like some beef to it, but not as much. It's not like which the that's my best impersonation of a metal zone, because it gets pretty bad if you turn those. Yeah. But
have you ever tried the digital metal pedal that they have, like the Reg Boss one?
The what is it called? The Metal Maximizer?
It's like I can't even remember. It just sounds insane. It sounds even more insane than the HM2. But
is it the death metal pedal?
It might be the death. It was a death. It was a digital. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't digital. It was actually Boss pedal.
It's not the HM3, right?
What was that?
It's not the HM3, right?
No. You're thinking of the Hyper. The Hyper.
Yeah, the Hyper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that she just has it.
Yeah, I don't know where Alexandria put it, but I still love playing with like the weird little like metal pedals that like, I don't know, you see it in a board and it's like you think it's for budget, but like it also looks pretty cool, and like it's kind of punk to have those. Like, I wouldn't say they sound terrible. Like, the Behringer, like the pink HM2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like awesome. I love the vibe of that.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah. It's
like
great.
If you have how much are those? Like $30?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well, why even buy a real one?
I was a Behringer kid to start out.
That's
I had a board full of Behringer pedals, and I had, like I was saying, I like my first pedal was like a Boss, like super distortion. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like cranking. I just cranked both the knobs, right?
that's
And
how you do
yeah,
it.
that was my tone. That was my original tone. I'm glad I don't do that anymore.
I can't remember my first pedal. What was it? Oh, it was a Dan Electro like fuzz thing, but it sounded awful. It was really
Hell
really
yeah.
bad. It was I like can't describe how bad it was. Like it was unusable to anything. And then I guess that's when I thought of pedals, I was like, okay, what is something that you use all the time? A tuner.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get a
Well,
noise gate.
something everyone should use.
Yeah, that's what everyone should use, but I didn't have a noise gate until I turned. Oh my god. I didn't get one until I was 24.
Yeah, I was probably around like 22 when I started thinking about stuff like that.
Like a real
I
one.
still don't really run. I sometimes still don't even run one. I don't know. Like I'm able to just cuff the. I'm able on EMG pickups, like especially the vintage ones, like the ones
Yeah.
that were made before the 90s. I can just cuff the sound really well with my hand over the humbucker, and like I'm able to cut it at least for. I don't know what it is. At least for like a quarter note, I can cut it. So we can do those little pauses and stuff like that we do. And so it's like I don't know. Sometimes I still feel like I really need one. If not, I'm just like cutting the volume on my guitar.
I mean, that's called technique.
Yeah, I like to
I don't
get
have that.
my guitar. And like, you know, like I don't play with my pedal board in front of me. Like it's always
Yeah.
behind me.
Yeah.
I don't you know, I never know when someone's gonna run up on stage. I've run into problems where people are like stepping on shit, and that shit's expensive, dude. It's so expensive. I don't like buying cables. I don't like replacing pedals. I've replaced so many pedals, dude. I'm sick of it. I do like Morley pedals. I've probably gone through at least 5 ABY pedals because I've just like stepped on them wrong by accident, and like I've just broken them, and like taking them through like sometimes they fall off my board and whatnot. So I don't know. Morley should hook me up.
Morley should hook you up.
Yeah.
But why do they
It's
break
also
so easily?
I think it's just the electronics inside. It's really something with the ground switches that stick out. I think I just have problems with that. Other than that, it's a really solid pedal. It's really heavy too. If you're looking for a good ABY.
Yeah, that's why I'm like,
maybe I'm just not good to my pedals. I don't know.
You kick the shit out of your pedals.
Sometimes I do step on them.
I just got an ABY. It's this Old Blood Noise Endeavors.
Oh, cool. I've never heard of that, actually.
They have really weird pedals, but they also have like a bunch of utility pedals. Like they have a buffer that's pretty good. I don't use buffers, but I mean I hear that's like, I don't know, if you're using like older pedals, that's what you're supposed to use.
That's cool.
But yeah, this is a pretty good ABY pedal. It's powered and everything. I'm not sponsored or anything, but it's really good when I want to run.
It's a nice size too. Honestly, I know there's like not a lot of
mini size.
Yeah. Everyone comes to me like you gotta get the big shot, the big shot ABY or whatever.
Yeah, everybody
I've
has
never
those.
used it. It just looks like an awkward space to take up on my board, and I'm so self-conscious about that. The size of my board is no bigger than like the size of a book. Like it's probably just the same size. So I don't know.
I don't know if you can see
small.
it. This is my pedal board right here. This is all.
Oh, actually, I don't see it. Actually.
Oh, you don't see it, but the viewers can see my pedal board, and it's really small. I think it's unplugged, so I can actually show everybody. Oh, not unplugged. All right, let's do this properly. Okay, so this is my pedal board.
Oh, awesome.
And then I was using this for something else, but I usually use the Oni, and then this Painkiller, but from Michael Klein. Shout out Michael Klein. And then I just started using this for like for all the bands that I'm in, for God's Hate even, because we have the Be Harder part, and it's a lot of feedback, and I was like, how do I make that crazier live? And then I just turn it on, hit a dive bomb, and then just let it feedback. And
it's awesome. You use that just for feedback?
Just for feedback. I don't use that for anything else. Maybe for solos. Like I tone it down so it's like usable, but when I have just...
Look at great for a pedal. I love that.
And they hooked me up too, so shout out Earthquaker. I almost forgot who it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to stop by their shop sometime.
Where's it at?
I've heard. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where it is. I know for a fact. I think Justin from Def Club and the Locusts, they went recently while we were on tour. I can't remember where. I've been so many places in the last 6 months. So
You've been gone.
I think it was on the West Coast. Yeah. I don't get to ever touch these, dude. Like it's nice. Like sometimes that's why I have to run all of them at once and just like feel it.
Like this is nice.
I've been playing through like Marshall cabinets and stuff, so
I'm trying to.
Fan of those.
Yeah, speaking of Marshall cabinets, what is a cab that you prefer? Because I've been going on a deep dive about speakers, cabinets, and then I realized, or someone mentioned that Celestion changed their manufacturing thing. So from X Day to like 2020, they're all different and they have different frequencies. They won't tell you this, but you plug in like a 2008 and you're just like, why is it so different? But recently they like switched something back to where it sounds, how it sounded like in the 90s. It's kind of like Gibson, where they started using different woods and got a new after the Robo tuners.
The Robo tuners.
But
it all went downhill after that.
I went downhill after that, but it's slowly coming back a little bit. I did try a new one, and I'm like, oh, these are kind of nice. But back to the cabinets. Do you prefer orange cabinets?
No, these are just my girlfriend's. I like the oversized ones.
Yeah,
they're nice. They sound way better than the actual 4x12s by Orange. I'm not a huge fan of those. Just on stage, I like how they sound like just while jamming. I'm not too picky about it usually then, but I'm so used to having like those Emperor cabs are usually behind me. They're tall. They're just as tall as I am usually. So like having all that.
Wait, how tall? Those are kind of short to me. How tall are you? Yeah.
I'm like 5'7", 5'7.5". Probably.
I mean, I'm 6'2", so big boy.
Yeah. So you'd probably be a little bit, but like I like that I can hear it, and like with a Marshall cab behind me with just a 4x12, I can't hear jack shit. Like I'm just too tall.
Yeah, I feel like I need a 6x12 to be happy.
It's nice. I know a lot of venues when we pull up, they're like, I don't want to mic those. They think I'm gonna put the volume like way too high, and I have to eye roll through it. And I set my volumes to like 2 on these amps. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I don't get the being like a sound guy. I don't get the whole, oh, these are gonna be loud kind of things, like perceiving bands before they come in.
Right.
I'll just deal with it and just let them know, like, hey, just don't turn it up too loud because this is a bar. Like, you don't really need it loud and you'll be able to hear yourself, kind of thing. So just whatever they bring is fine. Just if it's at a respectable volume, it's okay.
I get like this. I talked about this on Twitter, but like for some reason, like I have this problem where sound people just avoid miking up the other cab on the side of the stage, and I always use 2 amps. I don't know if it's because I have 2 on my side and they don't see one on the other side, and that's why they don't mic it. But I run into that problem a lot, and sometimes people blow it off, and I'm just like really annoyed about it. But I'm trying to make up for a whole nother guitarist, and I think that's like it's not really easy in terms of tonality, and you have to think about it a lot more before you get on stage. There's a lot to prepare for in terms of setting your amps up, and like I have double the cables. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool until it gets a little old, but it's also fun blending the amps. That's like my favorite part of like sounding good, sounding full, and I feel like someone will be watching me on stage and think, wow, this is all coming from her. You know what I mean? Like so I think it makes a huge impression. But yeah, it's honestly, I could go on about it for forever, but
I just don't like, I love miking stuff up. If I have access to it, I'm gonna mic it, So if someone's like, hey, can you mic this? I'm like, of course. Yeah, I was gonna do that anyways, because I love having they get
channels.
yeah. If it's one guitar player, and they're doing two cabs, I'm gonna mic the second cab regardless. Like I want to blend.
So
I want to
good.
sound huge. You know.
Yeah, like they should be having fun with the sound too, you know? I'm like, pan that shit. No, or do whatever you want with it. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't have a true stereo sound, so they can do really a lot of things with what they want it to sound like through front of house, you
Yeah.
know, through the monitors. There's a lot to do. Like I love crossing the amps on stage for us. Like for Tom, they can hear what's on my side,
Yeah.
and I can hear what's on the other side. Like that's really cool.
Yeah. I like at a certain. I get it. I get the sound guy trope because you deal with motherfuckers that just don't listen. You're just like, no, I'm trying to help you out, and then you just throw your hands up in the air and you're like, okay, whatever. This is gonna sound like shit anyways. And then you get into this mindset of like, I don't give a shit who walks in. You suck regardless. You don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? I get it.
There's some bad eggs sometimes for sure, but I've really met like a lot of cool sound people too, like on the road that like because of how simple we really don't have that like our lines like our line input list is not that difficult honestly. Like
No.
we have a trigger, we have a wireless mic, it's the same as a mic input, so like we're really easy.
Yeah, I really love when a drummer has a trigger and I'm like, I'm gonna make this sound really good.
Yeah.
Because it's one constant thing. You're not like fighting the compressor or like, if they
Right.
do a double bass, the left foot is weaker than the other foot. So I honestly prefer triggers.
Yeah, the triggers are nice. Jesse plays with a direct chain. Not a direct, like no chain. It's like a direct. I don't know what to call it. It's like those crazy DW pedals, and I tried them out.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I tried them out, and it's like it's like crazy response.
Yeah.
And like once you play on triggers, it's like you don't want to go back. It's like playing through two amps. Once you play through two amps on stage, you don't want to go back to one.
Yeah,
That's what I felt.
I'm debating if I want like a 412, another 412 that I put like different speakers in, or a 212 that I just bring with me to shows and then borrow the house cab and I can have a 6x12.
That's cool. You know, I've actually been seeing a Casey string. When we were on tour with them, they had a 4x12.
Yeah.
And then they had a dummy cab, a 2x12.
Ooh.
And they were like able to store all their stuff in there, their Kemper stuff. They use Kemper boards. So yeah,
I wanted
pretty
to
cool.
talk to Devin about it because their whole live setting, because I saw him for the first time over here in at the observatory in Santa Ana, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's like a traditional band where they just bring amps and whatever, but it's so like uniform. It's so like military-esque because they set everything up, and they sound so good.
It's big, and it sounds bigger than the recordings.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like the recordings. Don't get me wrong, but it sounds bigger. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what everyone wants out of a live performance. Like, hey, I need something more out of this recording when I come to see this band live. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they want to be able.
That's
to
why
feel
so many
it.
people fill the rooms. Yeah.
But
wow. Yeah, I learned so many things from like Mike Recon taught me so many things. Like, gave me so many pointers. Shout out Mike Recon.
Mike Recon rocks.
But like, they convinced me. Like I was watching them, and they convinced me to ask for a line 6 Helix, and they were happy enough to give one to me. And now I get to play around with that, and like I'm changing my sound a little because of them. Like I love watching how these guys work before they play, and like what they're doing with their boards. You know, like Fit for an Autopsy was giving me some pointers. Tim, you know, like had like they told me to get the Zool, the mini Zool. Like that's gonna be the decimate, like the decimator, and like any other noise suppressor. Like we're not going to compare. And he was right. It's probably the best pedal I've ever used in terms of noise gates. So like I just love taking advice from these guys and like putting it into my sound, and like it's the best part of touring.
It is honestly the one thing I miss about touring, but I still can do that when I do sound, and like it's my friends' bands that I'm lucky, because I'm doing, what's the show that's coming up at Midnight Hour? I just started working there in San Fernando.
Oh, nice.
They're doing Stick to Your Guns there, and I'm like, oh, they have a front of house guy, so I don't have to do anything, but I want to see what he's rocking with, and I want to see him like I want to see him do his thing, and because he's gonna have to like probably input a USB and do a scene that he made for Stick to Your Guns. But because it's like a DIY kind of space, it's very much like bare bones, and we don't have that much stuff. But I want to see what they're rocking with, and try to help them out. And it's always exciting, like working with your friends' bands and even
Yep.
playing with them. It's just like, oh, what are you using? And if it's basic, it's fine. It's like, oh, you're using TS9, that's cool. But I always switch stuff out. I always I use stuff that I had made that I want to get made, but I don't have like a budget for it. But that's the thing that I'm always thinking about. It's just, what can I do to chase the tone, And I don't even know what the tone is, but I need to be.
You'll never find out, honestly. You're gonna chase it forever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Forever.
That's how I feel.
In eternity, I'm just struggling.
It's like a painting.
It is.
It will never be done.
It'll never be done.
You just have to decide when you're ready to let it rest.
I don't think I can. I need more stuff.
It sucks that I feel that way too, because there's a lot of nice stuff singing around me right now.
Yeah.
But like, so many people are making really cool things. Like, people are sending me like prototypes and like first pedals and stuff that they've made, and it means a lot to me that they would do that, and it's really cool to try that stuff out. And you never know how far that's gonna go. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. There's a huge room, and there's a huge, a huge pool of people that are willing to like spread that around.
I do,
just like
love
music.
That. Yeah, I love it. I love all of it. I love independent builders. I mean, I have Michael Klein here, and I have a pedal here that I had designed for me as like a signature pedal, but I don't know when it's gonna get made. I can't make it myself. I probably could.
It's sick.
But, I want to wait till the time is right, and then I want to wait until I have a budget where I can make like 10 at least.
Yeah.
And then maybe send out this prototype or give it away or something, because it's...
Yeah, and that sends it along, that moves it along. Like, someone else might, buy one of those and be like, cool, maybe I can do this,
True.
Which is really cool. I love that.
Yeah, and I also...
One of the coolest things... Oh, I'm sorry, go.
I also want to try to build an amp, but that's... To me, it's like I have to, yeah.
I don't even know where to begin, dude. That's what my girlfriend's doing right now. Like in between me being gone, like, she's been building this amp for our friend Scott, and she's just taking her time with it, and like she gets to put her own personality in it in a way, which is really cool. And she's designing the faceplate and stuff. I've been letting her go on my Photoshop and design all that. So I'm really excited to see that. Yeah, it's like writing a book in a way. Whatever. A book has like binding, and all that. Like, there's so many things to a book, that the process of it being made, like, it's not that simple. But in a lot of people's eyes, it might be.
A lot of like, oh man, I don't even want to get into like designing and stuff like that, because like making your own PCB sounds crazy. Making your own pedal sounds crazy. Making your own amp sounds crazy. But I think it's because I don't have the technical side of it. I'm like very much like, oh, this goes to there, and I don't understand. Oh, this goes to there because the current and the capacitor you're using has a different voltage. I'm like, okay, hold on, give me a second. Let me process all this. I just know point A to point B, but I think once I have like an area I could do stuff, and it's like open space, or I don't want to breathe in the fumes, and then I have kids. I don't want to have them breathing in the fumes.
Right, I know. I get worried about that too. Honestly, dude, but when I joined the Escuela Grind, that was I think I was 20. I was turning 21.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old when I joined, and I still was trying to figure out which way do I plug my guitar into the pedal and out. I was plugging in the wrong way and shit.
Yeah.
It was I didn't even know how to coil a cable up properly, shit like that. There's a lot of stuff I just had to Now I just feel oh, everyone should know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you learn it, and you're
you can't coil a cable. Ooh. But it's acquired things that you learn on the road. And, yeah, I don't know. It's all so relative. Like I know so many people that are like geniuses with this shit and setting up guitars, and I want to know the minimum. You know, I might learn some things on the way, but I don't have to know everything. You know, I think it's holding up for me. I think this is punk rock. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see a lot of people getting flustered, and like I know a lot of my friends are looking into doing some of the stuff that we're doing, and like I do a lot of gear searching and selling, and that's a lot of stuff that other people get interested in, and yeah, so it's you know, anyone can do it.
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing.
so.
Anybody can do it. It's just having the patience of learning all the technical jargon and just like figuring out how to get all this stuff. But it can be done, and I think I'm telling myself that it can be done. I just have to, figure it out. But
Yeah.
I guess my next question is, I noticed the BC Rich there.
Yeah, the big stick.
Tell me more. Tell me more about it, because I don't see those often. The Iceman kind of design, so I would love to hear the story of how you got it, because I know you got it on the road, right?
I did, yeah. And this is a guitar I've been looking at for like years and years. Like I've been obsessed with like the Iceman for so long. Like I'm a huge System of a Down fan. Like Paul Stanley and like stuff like that. Like they're icons to me. And like I always like when I saw like someone's a rock star and like really like moving with like that guitar shape on, like Paul Gilbert had like guitars like that I was just like falling in love with, and I was really into stuff like that, and my guitar teacher was like a shredder, so like I see other guitarists doing that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I need to do. So by the time that like I played around with like Ibanez, like I had an Ibanez 350, Iceman 350, and it had a Floyd Rose in it, and I was stoked. And then I saw this one on Reverb or eBay, I think maybe eBay, and then I saw it sold, and I thought I was like the last chance to ever have it won, and like I thought it was gone forever. And then like over COVID, I saw it relisted, and it was under some other dude's name. It wasn't in Baltimore anymore. I think it was listed. Maybe it was in Baltimore, or maybe it was still listed in Houston, or maybe it was relisted.
Yeah.
Homie listed it on Reverb. They said it was one of three, and I got the backstory. It was like one of the luthiers in BC Rich that worked the wood shop. He would make guitars for the employees. You would get like each employee would get their own design, I guess, and they would make like three of them. Or maybe I think each employee got like three of them, and like they just got to like make their own custom guitars. And I guess this was one of the ones that like got made out of three, and it's been taken care of like all right. Like it obviously has like some chips along it. It has some playing. The Floyd Rose sits on the top, so like that tells me it's like it obviously was before 87, 88, before they started like really recessing these Floyd Rose into like the bodies, yeah. So it's kind of insane. There's no serial number on it because it's a prototype. It's a technical prototype. It doesn't. There's no serial for it, and I was a little skeptical at first because of just like the fact that there is no serial, the fact that it is one of three. But I contacted the guy who made it, the luthier from BC Rich. He lives in Hawaii now or something like that.
Oh, he's probably
and
retired.
He does work for NAMM. Actually, I think he still works. I think he's still doing his own guitar work. He did this crazy for NAMM. I can't remember what year, but he made this crazy acoustic. It was an Ironbird. But it was like a boxed like an acoustic guitar. It was cut like one, and it had like the whole cutout in the middle, and like it was beautiful, and it had the whole Japanese headstock and everything.
Yeah.
And I knew this guy was legit. I knew this guy made this guitar. If he was showing off all this stuff, like there's no way he didn't make it.
Yeah.
And he was able to confirm it with me, and he told me if I took the neck off underneath, it would say #1 on it, but it's not #1. He knows that for a fact because someone told him that like it was sold off to someone and then they reacquired it or something else, and like someone tried to like label it as #1, and he never wrote that on there. So he said that if I ever went to Hawaii, he would shave it off, but he has no clue which one it actually is. But the other two haven't been seen since '99.
That's the craziest story ever. Imagine having one of three guitars.
It's crazy, dude. Like those haven't been seen. I don't even know if they exist anymore. Who knows?
Like where's?
I'll never know, honestly.
We'll never know.
I think about that a lot, and like I think one of them they said was like purple. There's a purple one out there.
Wow.
I could be wrong. But crazy. I had to. It was a lot of money, but I had to buy it, and like I say, a lot of other BC Rich guitars right now on market are going for like way too much.
Oh yeah.
The what they're doing as on like as a brand right now is it's getting kind of like bougie, in a way. Um, I honestly like. I think in the time coming, I think this would be like a priceless guitar to me and like to everyone else. So I can't believe it's mine. I come back home. I get to play it. I'm like, wow, this is like a special occasion guitar. I don't want anything to happen to it.
That's how I feel about my Gibson Les Paul from the '90s. I'm
Aww.
too afraid to take it out, and I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's like it's the case queen. Yeah,
I'm just like, okay, if I
yeah.
take it out, it has
My
to
SG
be.
is a case queen.
If it's like if it's a special occasion, I'll take it out, and it's just a studio. It's nothing like it's not a custom. It's not.
Yep.
It's nothing crazy. I paid like $850 for it, and it's like one of the best guitars. Like I write everything on it now, and I'm just like, okay, this is the one. I don't want to take it out. I don't want to use it, but it'd be cool to just like play one live. But you know,
It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to show it off a little, you know. Like I'm planning on. I'm
Yeah.
planning on using this. I'm using this guitar. Not to spoil it. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm totally doing a Barbie outfit for the next Halloween show. So I'm gonna be playing my pink guitar with it. So I'm really excited. Yeah,
Oh
we're doing
my
this
God.
Halloween show with Kayanashi, which is gonna be really cool.
when are you
And
announcing
except the
it?
Philomoka. It's been announced. I think. We might make another flyer for it just in case. But the 29th thing, Philomoka. I've never been there, so I can't wait.
I've never even
But-
heard of it.
I can't wait to use all this gear because I never get to play like one-off shows and get to use
Yeah.
like what I really want to use. You know,
Yeah.
like stuff that I can actually risk bringing on the road. You know, like
Yeah.
that's cool to have. You know, but like
Yeah.
sometimes I gotta flex a little.
That's the thing. If you got it, you should definitely use it live because then I feel like I'm one of those guys that only plays blues riffs. That has like why do like I should use this? This should be played
Right.
live, and I don't want to feel like a loser when I'm like, oh, you know what? No one knows I have this kind of thing. But I definitely should
Yeah.
play it live once or a couple times. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but I
they
should
don't
be able
have
to.
the,
Yeah, should be
oh,
able to
sorry.
flex a little bit.
I think it cut out.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I think I was talking over you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You can talk over me as much as you like.
Stop it. I forgot to mention in the story of acquiring this guitar. The day before, I had my backpack stolen out of the van. So I was in a lot of money of like my shit being like gone,
Yeah.
and I never acquired that stuff back.
Oh, that's
And
right.
what I was really pissed off about was that I lost all my makeup, and I can't find like those brands anymore. Like I'm still struggling to find certain brands right now, but I don't know. All this stuff is replaceable, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got to be really careful about this guitar on tour, and yeah, the homie Rex, he runs. I think he's an admin on there's this BC Rich like enthusiast page on Facebook. I don't know if you follow it.
Is it the
There's a
BC
lot of cool
Rich
things that post on
Junkies?
there. Yeah, Junkies. He's an
Yeah,
admin on there.
I'm on there.
He's one of the ones that posted it, so I knew he was legit about actually selling this guitar.
Yeah.
And after I told him like I passed through Corpus Christi, I played a show at Boozers, and it fucking sucks. Never play at Boozers. Oh my god, it sucks. Never play Boozers in Corpus Christi. Oh my god. They gave me a T-shirt that had like holes in it. I think like something like bit through it. I still have it. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Homie Rex came out after I said, yo, I passed through Corpus Christi 3 months ago. I'm coming to Houston. I need this guitar. Will you drive out and give it to me? He was like, yes, of course I will do that.
That's
We did the
awesome.
whole exchange at this. I was on tour with Exhumed, I think. Yeah, Exhumed.
Yeah.
I was on tour with them and
Okay.
Vitriol. And yeah, he waited outside for me too. He waited for me to play and everything so I can like actually make the transaction. They were really cool about it. They drove like an hour and a half. So
That's
shout
like
out
normal for
Rex.
Texas.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's really, yeah, you know, it's like it was really cool.
That's
I still
sick.
think about it and like what a treat it was to be able to have that experience, and like it just felt like right. It felt like the right thing, you know. Even though my bag was missing, like I was like really
Yeah.
stressed out about it. I was like, I need to do this. I need to get this guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, crazy story. Now it's home, and It's got some crack finishes, like finishes in the crack and stuff. It's got some wear and tear, but
Okay.
it's pretty sick. I like that it's starting to look a lot like my guitar, you know.
And it is your guitar because there's only one
Oh,
of
it is,
three,
yeah.
so it's your guitar. That's you. If there was a signature model, that's your guitar.
That's what I want it to be, honestly.
Yeah.
There's this, I don't know if you've ever seen, I don't know if you fuck with Racer X, but that's like the band that Paul Gilbert used to be in.
That's right.
It's like hair metal, and
Yeah,
it's like really cool. It's got some really cool like hooks, you know, that could, you could hear in like video games. And they had this pink Iceman Destroyer body,
Whoa.
and it was so fucking cool. And it got donated, I think. It was sold on Reverb. You can find it on the sold listings for Paul Gilbert's guitars. It sold for like 20 grand or something like that. You can get like a fucking car for that. You know what I mean? But I was like, oh, I'll never have this guitar. I'll never have this guitar. I'll never have anything like it. But now I feel like I do. And like, I think it's unique to even that.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I think about. I feel like Racer X on stage sometimes. Maybe I just tease out a little more, you know? It's like...
you and a 50-year-old guy is like, man, I feel like Racer X right now.
I feel like Racer X. Hold my beard.
Hold my beard. But I know your other guitar is a Yamaha, right?
Yeah, dude. Yamaha gave me this Rev Star for free.
Oh,
so shout out Yamaha.
Shout out Yamaha.
Yeah, I have an artist profile video on YouTube. It should come up if you search Krissy Morash on YouTube. It should come up, and I get to talk about it a little bit. I get to show off, like, I think there's a lace pickup in there, a prototype, while they're doing like all these nice shots. So Lace kind of got a really cool promo in there, and it was really cool showing off like how like using it for like a metal guitar is like kind of unconventional, you know what I mean? And like I was on tour with Napalm Death, and people were like, I saw you with this guitar that looks like a car, and I didn't know what to think, but then you started playing, and I was like, wow. But, I get that a lot, because it's not spiky. Like, it doesn't have any spikes on it. It's, like, curved, and it looks like you'd be playing, like, freeform jazz. But I'm playing, like, heavy-ass strings on it on drop A, and people are, like, I think it honestly catches people off guard.
I love
it's
that.
A great guitar.
I love that. I love catching people off guard, but it's kind of hard to do when I look like the way I do, and I'm like 6 foot tall, and then God's Hate is 6 foot tall, mostly 6 foot tall.
He did. All you guys are fucking huge.
Besides Alec, the bass player, I mean, we all just look like giants. So I'm just like, the riffs are gonna be heavy, like regardless of what I do.
They match.
We all match.
It's awesome.
I can't do anything about it. So even if I bring like a Johnny Marr Fender thing, people are just like, oh no, this is gonna be heavy, and I'm like, fuck, like I can't do that. But it's so cool that you can do that though. But shout out Yamaha, and then we'll put the link in the video for this YouTube. But
awesome, yeah.
But I guess. Couple last questions is just, what's your favorite like riff?
Oh, that's hard,
right? I got a couple, but so like outside of like conventional metal, I remember. Do you remember the Spawn like soundtrack for Spawn the movie? Yes.
So Atari Teenage Riot, they have this song with Kerry King, or I think it's from Kerry King with Slayer. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right. And I think I know the song.
And they have this riff that goes on through it, and then it just gets a little bit slower. I've never heard anything so nasty but so simple in my life. And
I gotta listen to it.
Really make me feel violent. Yeah.
I gotta put it.
Oh wow, what a great.
Well, I'm gonna check it out, and I'm gonna put it right here.
I wish I knew the name of the song, honestly, right now, off the top of my head, because, wow, I was really into, like, electronic music as a kid, and I still am. I still love, like, Aphex Twin and all that, and, like, once I heard, like, those breakbeats with guitars on it, I was like, wow, I didn't know you could do this. Like I thought it had to be, like, 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 rocker stuff, like, that, like, I felt like that was taking it a step over of what I understood, like, metal to be.
Yeah.
Like, so hearing those riffs on top of that, I was like, wow, this is Slayer on this was like really cool. But in terms of riffs, like actual metal riffs, like I was really into like Kill 'Em All by Metallica and
Oh yeah,
like I guess like Slayer, like that whole Rain and Blood album, like all of those are like formative. Like that's how I know how a good song goes and like starts and finishes. Like they know how to start and finish songs. It's really cool.
they really do. And I mean,
You
I'm with you.
get
Sid.
it, dude.
I get it. I'm with you.
There's a lot of bands that can just write really good songs with like where the hook comes around again, you know? Like it's really cool how you can hear that in different types of genres of music and like
Oh yeah.
really like you can see the similarities, you know?
Once you realize that like everything has a hook and then everything has its own vibe, then you just start liking music in general, and you can like get different inspiration for stuff. Like most of my death metal stuff isn't even from death metal. It's from like I would say noise music, but it's mostly
Yeah.
like a classical music. Like
Yeah.
I can't think of any names because they're all. But there's this Polish composer that does very much like weird, scary chords, and you're like, what is going on? But I like
A
that
lot of
sense of
bits too, you know?
yeah, like there's
I feel like
structure and everything.
there's structures and like composers like to do this thing like I'm gonna change this like abrasively and like go
Yeah.
into something else. It's like I hear that a lot in like metal and stuff like that.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like there's so many bands where I could equate that like wow like this switches like that and it's like a whole different piece, but like it's a whole different section. It feels like a whole
Yeah.
different part of the song. You know, like yeah,
That's where I get
feels
inspiration from.
moves you.
I'm just like I want to throw this in there, and if you hear it, I'm gonna change it up. That's my favorite thing in the world. But I like to think myself as a composer. Whenever I'm writing
Yeah.
riffs, I'm just like, well, how can I throw everybody off, or how can I make this riff heavier, and also throw people off? But yeah, that's awesome. I'll even follow your Spawn album with the Punisher album. Hatebreed has a song on there that
Oh, I did not know that.
Brandon from Year of the Knife posted. Like, this is the hardest Hatebreed song ever, and
Oh,
it's like the most perfect Hatebreed song. And I'm just like, is this a throwaway? Like what? Like did they write this for the Punisher movie with John
oh yeah, it was
Travolta?
Bound to Violence.
It's
Yeah,
incredible.
Bound to Violence.
It's so good and it's so easy, but it's just like I want to like destroy everything. Not that song, but I want I want to just like drive a car off a cliff, but also it turns into a jet, but missiles come out and just blow something up. It's
You know,
perfect.
I actually I found out about. I think Jesse had the same experience. Like I remember the Mortal Kombat
That's another one.
sound kind of neat as fuck. Like what the fuck? Like what in Time Realm? Like why is there a grindcore band on this Mortal Kombat soundtrack? Like also like why is Hatebreed on this Punisher soundtrack? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I love shit like that, dude.
Like something that doesn't make sense that it's just on there and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess this makes sense, but it's cool that it's
Dude,
there.
fucking Hatebreed. Hatebreed.
Love it.
Under the Knife, dude. That was the first 7-inch I ever owned.
Really?
I was the one that suggested that we play. I really love Filth. We play that at the end of our set like every night for like the past like 4 months. We've been doing that.
No way.
And yeah, dude, Jamie Josta shouted us out on the Hardlore.
That's
They were talking
right.
about
Yeah,
our
that's
cover
right.
of it. And I was like, wow, that's so cool because I remember being like, there's blast beats in this.
That's right.
And that's why I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, dude, we have to play this song.
Yeah.
There's blast beats in it. And everyone was like, yes, that's what we're going to do. And now we do it now.
It's so crazy because I'm thinking about Greenwich where we cover Severed and we've been doing it almost every night. And the last time we did it, there was like a fight during our show, and I'm like, okay, this is going good. If there's a fight during your Hatebreed cover,
It was probably a good cover.
It was a good
It's
cover.
probably a good cover. Then.
It sounds really good on our tuning. I think we're like, what are we? We're like drop G sharp.
Oh, damn. Hell yeah. That's sick.
We're down there. But are you drop tuning or standard?
We're drop tuning, yeah. We're definitely drop tuning. Sometimes like I've written riffs in standard and I've just changed them to drop tuning because like sometimes you seize out a little more in the riffing, like how your hand moves in standard. Like I don't know how to explain that. I'm sure someone could explain it better than me.
No,
but
I
like
get it.
a lot of the stuff that I've written for at least for Escuela Grind so far, like has been like intermediate like exercise kind of riffs.
Yeah.
Where like I'm really just like it's stuff that I'm doing like while practicing. I'm like, wow, this would sound really cool as a riff. And like for Ball and Chain that's coming out on our next EP, like I just reversed the riff. And I'm like literally just turning around, and it's literally just like an exercise for my hand. Yeah, it's just like weird stuff like that like I've been like practicing, and like if you can make that sound hard and like practicing that like in standard or drop tuning, like or like on like an acoustic guitar or something like that, like if you're practicing it on that and you're like, wow, this sounds hard as fuck, like it's gonna translate, you know what I mean? Like
I don't have an acoustic guitar, so I can't say that I do
oh
that.
yeah,
But I have like this is my setup here that this is how I write riffs, and I need to hear like a high gain amp to get my idea, because I think I came from that as a kid. Like I only had an acoustic guitar, and I'm like, this would sound so cool if it had fucking distortion on it, and now I have that, and I can never go back.
It's crazy to think that like there's kids out there that like probably have never like they probably learned how to play guitar like through a computer, you know what I mean?
That's so weird to think about, because I just use a computer as like a tool to like write riffs, and I'm actually playing out of the VH300, so I'm playing out of a real like amp into the interface. But I'm thinking like, oh, before that I didn't have that, and I just plugged straight into the interface. I'm like, man, kids have it so crazy now because you have access to like,
it's so easy these days.
So easy these days. You have access to a JMP in a basement, and I'm like, I just need this amp here to get my ideas across. But if I had to use Kerry King's setup, I have that in my computer.
No, yeah, you know, it's like the Tone Hub. I'm trying to get into that.
Tone Hub's sick.
Yeah, definitely I'm actually looking into that as we speak right now. So I know that I can get all these sounds on it. So like having access to stuff like that definitely makes it easier, you know. But like it's the act of adapting to all this has been like pretty interesting for me. Like the fact that there's a little more demanding on our schedule of like how we can write music is really limiting. Like it's hard to do that on the road. Like that's something that like I somehow we're keeping up with. Like we've been singing a lot of this music for a bit, so like practicing it as like sound checks is like the only time we have. But like having like an interface or like having some little like adapter that goes into your guitar that can just like hook up to something, some speaker, like anything that like helps you like along the way. Like it doesn't even have to sound good, you know what I mean? It can sound like dog shit. But, like,
it just has to make your idea across, you know.
Right. So that's something I've been like adapting to a little bit. We've been plugging there's this thing called the Fender Mustang Micro. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I don't think I have.
You can find them at like Guitar Center. But they're this little adapter. It's a little thing that sticks out, and it has this knob. And you can change if you press these buttons on it, it has different presets for like what the amp sounds like. Pretty much like presets that you find in a Fender Mustang, like a digital amp.
Okay.
And there's some that sound really good for metal, and we can run that aux. If you have a car input in your aux, you can just plug an aux from the Mustang Micro into your car stereo.
Yeah.
And you can play through your fucking your car speakers. So we'll be rolling down the highways like on tour. Just like riffing in the front seat or the back seat, yeah.
And then are you like programming drums in there?
Oh, we haven't really worked on that, but like you can play music. Riffing. Yeah, pretty much. Like we like have a bunch of demos of the next LP that we're doing with Kurt in December. We're recording in December. Awesome. It's coming up. That's coming up really quick.
That's almost here.
Yeah, holy shit. If it didn't feel like that like 3 months ago, but 3 months went by so quick. I don't even know how to explain it. But it's really cool to look forward to in the fact that like we have the Mustang Micro and we can play these demos through it. We can play it through the speakers and still hear the guitar on top of it. So we can practice to it in the car. That was really cool. And I was like, any mistakes that I was making, that maybe like Jesse wrote differently,
Yeah.
I could hear immediately, and then they could just show me. Unless they were driving, they can't. I haven't figured out driving and playing guitar yet at the same time. I wish that was a thing.
Yeah, if you go driving, then yeah. I don't think it's possible.
Haven't figured that out yet.
I haven't figured that out. There has to be like, Fender needs to come out with something to have hands here, and then you could riff here, and then you could watch the road and riff at the same time.
It's $1 billion plan.
Fender hands. Fender, if you're watching, fucking write me that check. God damn it.
They're secretly watching. They're stealing your ideas.
They're stealing my ideas. They always do. But yeah, I guess this is a good time to wind down, and I guess we're having too much fun here. I can literally do this.
Chilling out.
We're chilling out. This is literally what I do if we were in the same room, just like if we're at a show or backstage, maybe playing the same show. I would be like, oh, what's that? What do you use? I do this all the time. And it's just second nature to me to just talk about gear and, nerd out a little bit. But this is a very nice conversation.
Thanks,
if
man.
you're ever in town, I'm going to a show and just hanging out.
Hey, we're always thinking of you too. I honestly think our paths are going to cross pretty soon.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
We're everywhere right now, so it might be sooner than later.
I don't know. We'll never know. But I guess my final question would be, if you would had to tell your younger self or younger kids that are watching this, because I always get questions of like, oh, why do you use this, or like, I don't know how to use a noise gate, like how to use a noise gate. What could you tell a younger kid starting a band, buying gear, and just like, what can you tell them, and just give them advice about like anything that pops into your head about starting a band, being in a band, and just gear to get?
I always think like my introductory to actually finding other people that knew what the hell they were talking about, just go to shows. Like that's like me going to like strip mall shows in like Clifton Park. Like I was able to find people that like kind of knew what they were doing, and like where we can kind of riff off of each other, and like what gear sounded cool, and like how like what bands we liked and what they were using, and like I think that went a long way for me in terms of like growing as like a musician, and in terms of like telling people like what gear they need, like is really hard, because I was fortunate enough to like have parents that like really helped me with lessons and whatnot, and like they really wanted me to have what I needed to like to be a good musician, and I'm thankful for that forever. I'm really fortunate for that, and I think the guitar press, the lessons are paying off. But honestly, like when I didn't have lessons, YouTube was my best friend. You can find out anything on YouTube. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about, and we can figure out you don't know what they're talking about. That means that you're learning something. So don't discourage yourself, I guess. It's going to take a lot of learning. There's a lot of things that I do in life that I can equate to like setting up a guitar or something. Like I do screen printing. I do certain things, and like just drawing. Like I can get very overwhelmed in the process of things and not having things work out my way. Keeping a clear head, keeping it on tight, not letting things get to you that hard. I think a lot of people can attest to like getting a little overwhelmed about their gear on stage. There's always room for improvement, and just not being hard on yourself and thinking about, how can I do things better next time? Or thinking about like things subjectively, like out of your own shoes. Like, I think it's really healthy. And I think that's when I know that I'm like growing and like learning about this shit. So it's really easy to get overwhelmed. I guess I don't really have any other advice for that.
I mean, that's prolific. It makes so much sense. If I was hearing that for the first time, I'd be like, okay, don't overthink this shit. I have what I have. Let's just use it. And then if I have something if someone has something that I want, I'll ask them about it.
Right. And it goes a long way. Like, you don't know how you're going to But you're gonna form this friendship with this person, and maybe they'll have to ask you a question along the way. Like, there's so many times where I know people have reached out to me saying that, like, if you need any help or any questions, let me know. And then I never sent them anything, and I should have. Like, I remember I was just starting the screen print over COVID,
Yeah.
and Cole from Gulch was working at
yeah.
Printhead. And we were keeping up in emails a little bit, and they were reaching out saying, if you have any questions, just reach out. And I thought that meant a lot to me, and I should have reached out to him more about it. And I don't get to screen print that much anymore because I'm on the road, but like,
Yeah.
I know that if I ever really need to reach out, I know that Cole would be there to answer about it,
Yeah.
and they'd be really happy to do that. They're great screen. Like, if you
Yeah.
ever need any work done, go to Printhead, because their discharge are fucking fire, their prints are fucking fire, and also like Cole's and Gulch, and that band's sick. And like, I know that they help the homies out. Like, they've all worked there, like printing shirts. Like, that's really cool. Yeah, shout out Printhead. I love, you have to support each other because that's how you grow. That's another thing to add.
That's awesome. This has been a delight. Highlight of my day. And it's
Hell yeah, dude.
very nice talking to you and just nerd out and just, figure out what you like and kind of see similarities, because we honestly do. I mean, I think if we were like in the same room riffing, we'd be like, oh, yes, and then it just turn into something crazy. But
Yeah, I feel the same way, dude.
I've had a fantastic time. If there's anything else you want to plug, go for it.
I don't know. We have an EP coming out. We're about to record an LP. It's been a hard but really crazy year. Shout out Ben Rowe. I love you forever. Nero, Cal, we love y'all. I'm thinking about all the homies and friends. So that's all I can really shout out right now.
Incredible. All right, that's been the Tone Zone with Krissy from Escuela Grind. Have a great day. Bye.
See ya, man. Cheers.